Good morning, Facebook and Instagram, and welcome back to another installment of Virtual Coffee with a Cop. Well, we got a good show for you today. I'm excited to get to it. Joining me today is, as always, is my good friend Brian and partner.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
I see your glasses. Nice.
These are great. This was a gift from Diane and Rick.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
And a happy Ash Wednesday to those who celebrate. Blessed to you. What else is going on? Not much on the Corona front. I don't have much to report on the Corona front. I know we're in year 2 of the 15-day to stop the spread.
It seems to be dragging on.
Seems to be dragging on a little bit,
yeah.
But we're all still all in this together. We're getting through it. Things seems like they're starting to open up again. I feel like we're getting close, guys. We got some shout-outs today. I think Menifee PD's watching us. I heard Winter Park PD might be watching us, and Cypress PD. So if those PDs are watching us, thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy our show today. I want to get to some housekeeping stuff first. I've been asked to talk about some of the recent crimes that are going on. By far, the biggest crimes that are being reported right now in Anaheim are theft. So you need to pay attention to that. Keep an eye on your valuables, and don't be a victim. But recently, over the past week or so, we've gotten a lot of complaints and responses to some fraud scams that are going on, and I want to talk about a few of those that you maybe have heard of. There's the COVID-19 scam, where somebody calls you and pretends they're a government employee and try to get your social security number, and they use you for robocalls, emails, spam, and stuff like that. If you're a victim of a COVID-19 scam, there's a number to call, 714-834-3482. Before I get started, if you have any questions for us today, ask at anaheim.net for any questions on that one. Be sure to go to our Facebook page and our Instagram page, like us and follow us. We want to get our viewership up because we really enjoy doing these. We love hearing from the community, and we appreciate all the followers and feedback that we can get. All right, back to my fraud schemes. So another one is a utility scam. We received reports of scammers calling residents, something to do with the Flex Alert, and they're asking for prepaid payment or in-person payment. That would never happen. So if you get a call like that, you could call 714-765-3300 or check online at myapu@anaheim.net. Another one, common fraud scheme that we've been hearing a lot about is government impersonation scams. Criminals pose as government employees and threaten to arrest people if they don't provide funds in the form of prepaid credit cards or money orders. We would never ask you to come up with a $500 Home Depot card to pay your utility bill or your government bill. Another one is a grandparent scam. Unfortunately, these target the elderly. They call and they pretend they're a relative, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, and they ask for money because somebody could be stranded in jail. Or a romance scam. Somebody calls you and say they're an interested romantic partner. These also, elderly fall victim to this a lot. Another one is the tech support scam. Criminals pose as technology support representatives and offer to fix your non-existent computer problems. They gain remote access to your computer, and then we all know we have a lot of vital information on there. And then the sweepstakes charity lottery scam. If a Nigerian prince calls you and just says he has $1 million and needs you to send him money, that's probably too good to be true. Anything on that? Any ways to prevent that, Brian?
Yeah, so I'll read off a little bit here on how to protect yourself. Brian covered a little bit of it. The first, recognize an attempt of someone scamming you. Scammers create a sense of urgency and produce fear. Government agencies wouldn't normally do that. If they're pressuring you and say, we need money now, we need you to do it by the end of the day or this or that, probably a scam. Obviously, the easiest thing to do is to just immediately end all communication with the person calling. Like Brian mentioned, never send personal information, money, jewelry, gift cards, believe it or not, is kind of common for scammers to ask for. We would never ask for gift cards. The IRS would never ask for gift cards. Wire information, Western Union, some of these scammers say you have to Western Union money. No government entity would ask for that. Make sure all computer antivirus and security software are up to date. Never open. We actually even get this here at the police department, but never open any email attachment from someone you don't know, and be wary of email attachments you don't recognize. Pretty simple stuff. I can tell you, with the technology the way it is today, a lot of these scammers have devices that can fake numbers. So if you have caller ID, you might get a call from a scammer and the number actually shows up that matches the number to the IRS or to the police department or to the Orange County Jail or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where the call's coming from. There's technology to make it look as if that's the case.
Yeah. It's all about education and prevention. Just don't be a victim. Don't put your stuff out there. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Once again, ask@anaheim.net for questions. Be sure to like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. What have you been doing to keep busy? Staying in shape?
Try. You're not getting any younger, but
I heard an interesting fact. Do you know what sprinters eat before breakfast?
I don't know.
They fast.
I like it.
All right.
That's
all right.
There's a bunch of people saying hi, bunch of shout outs.
But shout out. Who we got shout outs from?
We got Early, Jesse Ramirez.
Hi, Early.
Lily's memory. We got Kate, the winner from our last
Yes,
watching.
Kate is a big fan.
Please stop farthest away.
Maybe far away.
All right, we'll have to keep an eye.
We love members like Kate, Jody Mosley's, Kathy Chances out there, the ones that let us know what's going on in our community. We are a partnership with the community. We don't know if crime's occurring or hotspots are going on. If you do have a problem in your neighborhood, I would always encourage Anaheim Anytime requests.
Yeah.
Go to the City of Anaheim website. If it's not something that's occurring right now, maybe a long-term problem in my unit as well as Brian's unit, we'd like to get out there and solve those problems for you.
And when we get Anaheim Anytime requests, you always get an answer back within 10 days. So you'll hear back from us. We'll give you some kind of answer. We'll probably call or actually even send an officer out to talk to you in person.
Yeah.
So
we really enjoy
it's a
this.
great resource.
All right. I'm excited. Are you ready to get into the meat and potatoes of this?
Yeah, so probably a lot of people watching are watching to see our next guest. We're going to talk about recruitment and hiring and all that kind of stuff. And then I don't want to tell a story. But
go for it.
Just, I've said this the last time we talked about recruiting. I'm sure Officer Florendo is going to talk about it. Really do your homework. This is not a normal job. This is something that you really have to understand kind of what you're getting yourself into. I had a ride-along years ago, an adult ride-along, and unfortunately we had to respond to a shooting call, and it was a tragic crime scene, and the ride-along, who I think was interested in a career in law enforcement, was very bothered by what he had seen,
right.
And in fact asked me to take him home or take him back to the station so he could go home. This is going to be a great resource talking to Officer Florendo and Brian about all this, but beyond that, really dive into what we do and do your homework and be prepared for what you'll experience in this career. So that's my advice before I step away.
Just so you guys know too, we've been asked this. There's no ride-alongs going on, dude.
Yeah, no ride-alongs because of the coronavirus.
I should have mentioned that.
But they will return at some point, and when they do, I would definitely encourage anybody to do that. Yes, Brian alluded to, we have a very special guest, Officer Florendo. He's from our recruiting team, and he's going to be here to answer all questions recruiting related because we will be hiring, and he will guide you there. If you haven't watched our recruiting video, go to the Instagram page or the Facebook page for the Anaheim PD, and I know you might have saw it in my promo video, but this is awesome. It was so well done, it's just gets the hair standing on my arms. All right, well, welcome, Officer Florendo, and how are you today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Obviously, I have some questions for you, and the community and our viewers have some questions for you, but first, tell me about yourself. Who are you?
Well, first, I want to say hi to everybody, and thanks for having me. A little bit about myself. I've been a police officer for about 16 years now. I left the military service several years ago. I got hired with an LA County agency, spent about 10 years there, and then I lateral transferred here to Anaheim.
Great. All right, so about the hiring process, can you tell us what's currently out there for anybody that wishes to be a police officer here at Anaheim?
Yeah, so our hiring process, this goes for both lateral police officers and police officer trainees. So the biggest thing is go to joinanaheimPD.com. Okay, there's an interest card there. Make sure you fill that out. So once these applications go out, you're going to be notified, and then that begins your application process. So after the application process, you're going to take the pellet B for the police officer trainees.
Pellet B.
Pellet B exam, and for the laterals, they don't have to take that test. Following that, you're going to take our physical agility and your panel interview. And then once you pass all that, you're going to be assigned a background investigator and begin the background process.
That's great. You mentioned the physical fitness test. Let's suppose we have some viewers out there that are considering becoming a police officer. What would you recommend they do to get physically ready for the academy?
Yes, physical
The
agility.
test.
Yeah, physical agility is important in a life of a police officer. So to get ready, you should be running, doing push-ups, weightlifting. I know the gyms are closed right now, but you can improvise. And obviously eating healthy and just having a good physical routine.
All right.
Yep.
So no pizza and Netflix, huh? You want to
Maybe once in a
avoid
while.
that while you're doing that?
Yes.
You mentioned lateral hires. Can you explain? We get a lot of questions about what's the difference between a new hire and a lateral hire.
Right. Okay, so a new hire is basically somebody who is beginning their journey as a police officer, who has no experience. A lateral police officer is now an experienced police officer coming from another agency like me. So usually they've been working for maybe a few years as a police officer in another agency or another state, and then they can be hired as a lateral police officer here.
Okay, but we had some questions before we get to the questions coming in. If you have finished the academy and you're in training, but you have not completed the probation, and you don't have your basic post yet,
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's the key.
You're
It's the
not
basic post.
considered a lateral yet.
Right.
So, anyways, do we have any questions coming in?
Reginald had a question about this. How old do you have to be to apply?
Hey, Reginald, thanks for joining us.
If you're a police officer trainee, you could be 20 and a half and then be 21 by the time of appointment, and then there's no age restrictions on the higher end.
And Fernando also had a question. He was asking if he's getting ready to graduate college. Should he wait to graduate or apply now? When should he do that?
Well, it depends on when he's graduating, but I wouldn't apply now because our process really takes several months. So you can kind of gauge it during the process and kind of time it with your graduation.
Yeah, and no way we can give you a definitive answer on specifically how long you will take. Everybody's different. Everybody lives a different life. Everybody has a different background. So
Right.
some are a lot sooner than others. We cannot tell you that. The only thing we can tell you is once you do finish the academy, how long until you're in a police car by yourself?
Well, our training program is about 6 months. So after that, then you can be certified to be on your own. So after the academy, roughly around 6 months.
All right, good. Florinda and I are both military veterans, so we've got some questions on if you're still in the military, when is a good time to start filling out that interest card and actually start, where the rubber meets the road hiring and asking questions? What do you think?
So when I was leaving the service, I started around probably 8 to 10 months. But 6 months is a good time frame to start applying because you got to time your testing and then the background process. So hopefully everything jives when you leave the service. You can start the academy.
And let me throw that website out there again. If you have some things in your background, if you're not sure, hey, does this qualify? Does this not qualify? We would always recommend just triage yourself. Go to joinanaheimpd.com. Say that again, joinanaheimpd.com, and there's some forms on there, and there's some screening processes, and so you can fill out a screening process and kind of see where you're at. If you have a lot of yeses and there's some things you need to work on, you can work on those things before you apply. But that's a pretty good gauge, would you say?
Yeah. So basically you're self triaging. Based on all the our questionnaires, you can kind of gauge on what we're looking for and what to look out for if you need to work on something. And if there's something specific, you can always ask the recruiter at APD Recruitment at Anaheim.net, and it will be on our main website. So check it out and send us some questions.
I'm really excited to get some questions. What do we got?
You know, we did get an email question from Irving.
Irving wants to know.
About, he's a legal permanent resident, and he's filed for his U.S. citizenship. Can he apply to be a police
It's a
officer?
good question. It's a really good question.
Yes, he can. So he should hopefully get his citizenship within 3 years from the time of appointment.
Got another one?
What about, can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned the Pellet B. What is that, and what can people do to prep for that, or is there a score?
Okay, our Pellet B is our entrance exam, our written test. And to prepare for that, you can just Google it, and there's going to be a lot of resources out there, whether they're PDF files or books that you can probably purchase, or just online. I'll give you some practice tests to give you an idea of what the test entails.
Question from Cali State Patrol on Instagram.
Cali State Patrol.
Their son is
What do you got?
self-sponsored.
Oh.
That's, maybe talk about what that is, and then can they contact us to apply as a police officer?
That's a really good question.
Okay.
Can you explain what self-sponsor is first?
Sure. Self-sponsored, somebody who puts themselves through an academy. It's not hired by an agency yet. So what they can do is, while they're in the academy, they can apply as a police officer with other agencies that are hiring. However, you would be a police officer trainee because you're not a post-certified officer yet.
Yeah, because it's not easy to get hired. So if you're doing self-sponsor, you're putting the burden of the cost of the academy on yourself in hopes that you shine enough that one of these police departments will pick you up and not have to spend the money to put you on the academy. But it's a good way to get in if you're having trouble getting hired, or some places are slow.
And right,
It's a good way to get in.
I wanted to add on the Pellet B, our minimum score is 49. So 49 is our minimum score and above.
But you want to do better. You want to get 100.
Sergeant Peckman, maybe you can answer this one?
Sure.
What if somebody has visible tattoos? We had JJ ask a question about have visible tattoos, can they apply or be a police officer?
Yes, the question was about visible tattoos. If you have tattoos below the elbow, you want to go out and you probably know about this one.
Right. You can't be shown. So if your sleeve, you have to wear a long sleeve, and it can't be past the neck.
Yeah, tattoos in and of themselves are not a disqualifier. You're just going to
Yes.
have to cover them and not have anything too shocking to the senses. Right. We don't discriminate against tattoos. I have a couple myself. Any other questions here?
Melissa wants to know about your coffee.
My coffee? I have the Black Rifle coffee mug. I'm drinking just black coffee that came from somewhere downstairs, and it is delicious. And what do you got there? You got the Avenger mug?
Yes.
Yep. I like this one. This is my camping mug. It's metal. I'll never break it. Okay, so right now, does education help?
Education definitely helps. It's not required. You have to be a high school graduate or have your GED certificate, but you bring more to the table during the interview process. You want to kind of put yourself ahead of others, basically the competition, and it's a big plus on
Sure.
your side if you do have it.
I mean, think of it this way. There's a giant pool of candidates that want a few jobs, and we have to take those things into effect. You know, your driving record, your finances, your physical fitness, your college, your education, stuff like that. Nobody knows you like you know you. So just triage that self and just do the things that you need to do to be the best possible candidate. We don't lower our standards at Anaheim. We want to get the highest quality officer. We feel like we owe it to our department, to our community. So we're very picky about who we pick. But if you feel like you meet that standard, we'd love to have you. So go do joinanaheimpd.com.
And that goes for any other agency out there that they look for those quality candidates. So just keep that in mind.
Do we have any other questions? Real quick.
Yeah, there's a couple. Christerones is asking about the background process.
Oh.
Maybe you can expand on that a little bit, or what's all entailed with that.
The background process.
So our background process is very extensive. So it entails, your criminal history, your education, all your documents from basically from birth. Also your credit is something
big.
that they look at nowadays. And then they're going to talk to your friends, your references, coworkers. So it gives us a bigger picture of who you are as a person.
As part of the recruiting team, where do you go to find potential candidates?
So we go to colleges, we go to job fairs, anybody we meet on the street or anybody that approaches us, social media, we're reaching out to everybody. We're looking for really highly qualified candidates.
And do you see that there's generally a pretty big interest right now?
Yes, for our
Yeah.
agency, I can speak for our agency, we have a lot
It's a
of
fantastic
interest,
job, and
yes.
it's a great place to work.
Yes.
Let's take one more question before I go to
There's a lot of questions about people who are currently in training in other places. You kind of touched on that already. Maybe you can kind of clarify for somebody, how would they apply? If they're in training at another agency, they're not technically a lateral, correct?
Right, okay, so if you're in training for another agency, you're technically not considered a lateral until you have your basic post and you completed your probation. So maybe if you apply while you're in training and then during that process, you complete those two requirements, then you can be considered a lateral at that point and you go directly into training. But if not, then you would have to go to the academy again.
Yeah, and again, that makes you a more desirable applicant. So it's
Yes.
only a matter of a few months. To do
Yes.
that, come here and make yourself you want to market yourself before you come here and apply. So, all right, I want to ask you a trivia question. Oh, go ahead.
A couple things, just to be successful during the hiring process. Some of these notes that I wrote. Follow instructions. Fill out those the background questionnaire thoroughly, and make sure they're complete. Be prepared for your testing. Google interview techniques, so you're well prepared
Yeah,
during that
that's a
time.
good one right there.
Be early to your appointments. Learn about the city, and the police department is big. You want to know what you're getting into, and also showing that you're interested in the city and in our police department. And remember, the first impression is always key.
Dress nice.
Yes.
Dress nice. Have a suit. Wear a suit if you got one. Again, make yourself more marketable. It's a great job, but you have to really apply yourself to get here.
Right.
Okay.
I saw one question that asked if you have to work in the jail first
That's a good
if
question.
you get hired.
The question was, do you have to work in the jail first when you get hired here? No, that's for county agencies.
Right.
I work for Los Angeles County. You have to work in the jail before you can get out of patrol. Orange County, same way. County agencies, they're the one that handle the jail, so that's how you work in patrol. Having said that, there was a question on here, do you need patrol experience to apply here as a lateral? No, you do not.
you do not.
You just need to
Right.
have your basic post, right?
Right.
So I came here as a patrol deputy, and so I didn't have patrol experience until I got here.
Great question.
Trivia question?
Yeah, let's go with the trivia question.
Do it.
This one, for a APD challenge coin, this thing is beautiful. It's dense and heavy. First question is going to be for Instagram. So for all you viewers on Instagram, the question is, Officer Florendo speaks a foreign language. Anybody want to take a guess at what that foreign language is? So we'll just set that right down there. Can you say, while we're waiting for the answer, because a lot of people are really concerned with the physical fitness test. A lot of people stress out on that a lot. Physical fitness is obviously very important to this job. Can you say what the elements of our physical fitness tests are generally?
Yes. So during a physical agility, you're gonna run a mile, okay, and then you're gonna run an obstacle course, and then there'll be a 440-yard sprint, and then a dummy drag at the end. And
We call it dummy.
yeah, so it's a tough physical agility, but it's very.
It'll wear you out. No matter how good a shape you
really
is, it's going to wear you out.
because there's no resting period in between. So make sure you prepare for it.
We have a winner.
We have a winner.
St. Ives 09.
St. Ives 09. And the answer was Tagalog. He speaks Tagalog.
Yes, Tagalog.
You want to explain that?
Language.
Hey, why do you speak Tagalog? How do you speak Tagalog? How did that come about?
Well, my parents are Filipino, and I've learned it from my grandma and my parents throughout the years when I was growing up. So.
That's very fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating. All right. Let's do
Maraming salamat.
Before we get to the Facebook trivia question, I wanted to say something that's shooting off the top of my head. If you're out there and you're considering joining Anaheim PD or joining any PD for that matter, find some cops that you know. Everybody out there knows another police officer. Sit down with them and talk to them about the job. You may decide that the job's not for you.
Right.
Talk to them about that. As police officers, we go through a lot of interviews. So ask them about interview techniques. when we do interviews here for applicants, it's really obvious right away who's prepared and who's studied and who actually practiced interviews before. So you're talking about a career here. You're not just talking about a part-time job. So you want to do everything you can to make yourself more marketable and successful. Would you agree with that?
Preparation really shows during the testing.
Yeah, preparation absolutely shows.
If you really want it, you're going to prepare.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Let's do one more trivia question for another point. Oh, by the way, for the winner of the Instagram, please send us some type of phone number or contact information on our Instagram page so we can get you your gift. Because sometimes we've had winners before that we weren't able to get back with them and get them their gift, and they're still sitting in the office. And if you're one of those people that fall into that category, please get a hold of us. If you won something in the past and you didn't get it, we just have no way to get a hold of you or track you down for your gift. But we do want to give this stuff away. We love giving away gifts. All right. The next trivia question is for our Facebook community. If you're joining us on Facebook, the question is, aside from being part of the recruiting team, what other detail does Officer Florendo work? What other job does he have? I like your mug.
Oh, thank you.
It's very nice mug.
Adventures.
Is that
Really cool.
That looks like my partner
That's
Brian with
all
his
there.
shirt off.
Yeah.
Oh, you look, yeah.
Hey, while we're waiting for an answer, there's a lot of questions coming in about other jobs in the department and in the city.
Good question.
There's so many questions coming in about that, but where can they go find out about it?
Great question. So, like I mentioned previously, joinanaheimPD.com will get you started on everything. Fill out a job interest card, and then you check the box on what you're looking for. And as those jobs come available, you'll be notified, and it'll give you the description and then also the application. So make sure you go to our website, and it'll get you started.
Yeah, also governmentjobs.com, governmentjobs.com. Go to the city of Anaheim, and then you'll find it under. There's all kinds of job descriptions. We have everything from jailers, cadets, TCAs,
Right.
office personnel. I mean, we have everything.
Well-diverse department.
Well diverse. We have so much here, and our civilian employees that aren't sworn, they're a vital part of what we do here. We couldn't do it without them. So
Right.
definitely go on there if you want to be part of the Anaheim team. Then get on there. There's a lot of jobs over at the city as well that are always opening. So
Yes.
we're open for business. So do that. Do we have a winner on Facebook
Haven't
yet?
seen the answer yet.
We haven't seen it.
Which is surprising because
Wow.
you have so many shout outs.
Where besides recruitment does Officer Florendo work? That is, I thought that was going to be like one
How
of our.
about this? If you've seen our video, our recruitment
Yeah,
video,
if you've seen our
that might give
recruitment
you a
video.
clue.
That might give you a hint.
Kate thought he might be a detective, but that was in the past, right?
Right.
He used to be a detective.
In the former life.
So what happens when you come to Anaheim PD? You finish the academy, and then you go through the field training officer process, and you are a patrol officer
Right.
for however long you want to be a patrol officer for. During that time, you kind of branch out and see what your interests are, and then you show interest to certain details, and then when a position becomes available, much like the initial hiring,
Right.
you do an interview and they go through your skills and you dress up pretty and you do an interview and you get selected to be a detective. That's the next stop of a detective or investigator. And then after a while, if you've been here long enough, salty dog, you can take the sergeant's test and become a sergeant and then work your way up to yeah.
We got a winner.
We have a winner.
Facebook, Grizz Grand.
Grizz Grand.
Grizz Grant. Hey, Grizz Grant.
Facebook
He
Grizz
works
Grand.
At
I work at Disney.
He works in Disney. He works in the resort district. So get us your information so
Hence
we
the Avengers.
can get you your coin. And Disneyland will eventually open up. Inevitably it will. We'll be back to normal. And when you're down there, if you see Officer Florendo walking
Might
around,
see
you got
you there.
questions, you want to talk to him about anything that is hiring, or you want to speak Tagalog with him, I'm sure he'll be happy to
Yep.
take some time, hand you a sticker, and speak Tagalog with you. Any more recruitment questions?
none that we there's a lot of repeat questions, but
A lot of repeat questions?
What we'll do is go through and
Again, So here we go. That email again is joinanaheimpd.com for your forms, for your screening to self-triage yourself. If you have a specific question and you want to send an email, apdrecruitment@anaheim.net.
Yes.
apdrecruitment@anaheim.net for specific questions, or if you just want to triage yourself for forms of screening, that's joinanaheimpd.com. If anybody has any extra questions for Officer Florendo, you could actually put them in the comments of Facebook and Instagram. After these are done, I sit in my office and I go through all the comments and I try to get back to everybody and say stuff. Join us, like and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And if you missed the live showing of this, you can always go back later and watch it. I know there were a couple people that said, "Oh, this is starting too early. I won't be able to watch it because I'm at work." You can always go back and hit the replay button, watch it. You can even leave comments, and we'll get back to you on that. Anything more on the recruiting? Okay, I think we got everything out.
Thanks, everyone.
Officer Fernando, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You do an amazing job. Our recruitment team, our personnel, our whole team that puts together the hiring does an amazing job, and that's why we have such fine applicants and a great police department. Thank you for joining
We'll see you
us.
guys out there.
All right.